This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
It is Wednesday, September 7th. Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. Here are your top stories. One of the fastest growing banks in Arkansas is about to build the largest bank complex in northeast Arkansas. First National Bank of Paragould will begin construction on a 60,000 square foot financial park in Paragould. When the building is complete, it will be the largest financial institution in terms of physical size in the region, company officials said. The tentative completion date is spring of 2018. Arkansas ranks 47th among overall states in Washington, D.C. in healthcare outcomes, access, and costs. That's according to an analysis by WalletHub. The state ranked 48th when comparing health outcomes, 35th comparing health access, and 19th comparing healthcare costs. Minnesota ranked first overall, while Alaska was 51st in the report. After helping to welcome a record number of visitors to Arkansas tourist destinations in 2015, State Parks and Tourism Chief Kane Webb said Wednesday the state is shifting part of its outreach to target the nation's fast-growing millennial generation in order to maintain the current robust growth. To that end, Webb said the State Department of Parks and Tourism will unveil its new advertising and digital campaign headed by CJRW and Aristotle at the Arkansas Hospitality Association's annual vendor showcase and convention next week in Little Rock. And those are your top stories of the day. You can keep up with these stories and more on our website at talkbusiness.net. After the break, Wes Brown and I go 4 minutes, 4 questions on a variety of topics. We'll go inside the numbers for a look at the latest on the business front and another round of Representative Andy Davis and Jessica Deloach-Sabin as they talk politics. We're back after this.
First Security is here, only here. So that means we're here, here, and here. Even here. And definitely here. Because here is where we want to be for you. First Security Bank, only in Arkansas.
At Deltic Timber Corporation, we believe in the responsible creation of communities, in the development of neighborhoods that bring convenience and comfort to life, while respecting the beauty and delicacy of nature. Like the harmonious balance of environment and expansion found in the thriving communities of Chenal Valley and Chenal Downs in Little Rock and Red Oak Ridge in Hot Springs. Because the best communities in the natural state are the ones that help keep it that way.
Time now for 4 minutes, 4 questions. I'm joined by Talk Business and Politics, Wes Brown. Welcome back. Good to see you as always, my friend.
I think I won last time.
You know what? I'm going to call it a tie last time. How about that? All right. You know the drill. My first question to you is, we have seen the U.S. rig count kind of rising lately, up to 12 rigs, I believe. OPEC raising oil production. Have we seen the end of these lovely low gas prices we've been experiencing for more than a year, year and a half now?
I think we'll see continue to see low gas prices, and because crude oil prices continue to be low through the end of 2016. But I think in 2017, I think especially with OPEC raising production, that will cause the price of crude oil to rise. And with the rig count going up to 12 now, and you see that rise, that also means that production in the United States is going up. So we're going to see.
Is that because we're running through the supply abundances that we have, or?
No, it just means that you know, more shale gas is being and oil is being produced, and yes, we're using more, but we also have China, we have other emerging countries that are buying a lot more energy, so we're producing more.
So I need to fill up while I can.
So yeah, and in 2017, I guarantee you're going to see that price of pump price move up to about $3 a gallon again, and maybe even higher after that period.
I'm not happy about that.
And don't well, you know. Well.
I'll throw the question to you.
Okay, another kind of numbers question. State revenues over the last 2 months in fiscal 2017, which begins on July 1st, have been off. They've been down below year-ago levels and below forecast. Right. So my question is what's happening with this? What's going on?
Well, first of all, I think the projections may have been a little too rosy, just a little bit. I mean, I know when they threw it out there, those revenue growth projections was like, that's a very optimistic forecast. Realistic to an extent, but a little optimistic there. But look, I mean, we're seeing it across the board, those lower than expectations and the lower than previous year levels. First of all, we've had some tax cuts, so that's affecting it some. But you got lower individual income tax collections, lower corporate tax collections, lower sales and use tax collections. I think DFNA attributed some of the lower sales tax collections to some audit refunds that were a little bit higher than normal. But I will say this, 2 months does not make a fiscal year. A little early, we'll see if this thing kind of rolls forward and backwards just a little bit more. I think by the end of the fiscal year, I would not be surprised to see the projections be pretty close to
I think the thing behind that is consumers. Is consumers being really cautious right now?
I think they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they're holding back a little bit. So we saw that in some back to school sales there. Yeah. All right, artificial intelligence, AI. I don't know anybody with those initials, but if I did, they would be pretty offended by that. Made some pretty major advances in recent years. What's going to have a bigger impact on everyday living as artificial intelligence becomes more mainstream through drones and self-driving cars or something else? What do you see happening?
Well, I think you mentioned two of those, drones and self-driving cars. I think the self-driving cars and the technology in cars is fascinating, and it's going to have more direct effect on consumers. But I think more pervasive kind of effect, I think drones are going to have they are involved in everything now. I saw a thing on YouTube the other day. A little girl was out swinging golf and hit a drone with her golf. So they're everywhere. But I think the real major thing is if they get involved in business applications, from telecom to farming to entertainment. I mean, they're involved in everything. And what if they start delivering to your, from retailers to your door?
Yeah.
That's going to have a great effect. So I think drones or maybe self-driving cars, which is a combination of drone and cars. So.
I would let a car drive me somewhere. I could get a lot of work done if I had a car driving me somewhere. It would work out good. So. Last question to you, my friend.
Talk Business and Politics recently made a pretty big acquisition up in Northwest Arkansas with the Northwest Business Journal, which has a really good reputation up in Northwest Arkansas. What was the reason behind this purchase, and what is the strategy going forward for Talk Business and Politics?
I should probably explain that to you since you're one of the employees that will be contributing.
I would like to know.
Look, it is a very well-run organization, a very lean organization, does produce a very good product up there, heavy on the print side, still very profitable on the print side. I think we will probably roll more products out in that market to expand the distribution channels for our content in that area of the state. And then they do some things up there where there's some expertise that I feel like we can export to other parts of the state too, particularly some special events, maybe a few other items as well, where there's some real expertise up there. But look, Northwest Arkansas is one of the fastest growing metro markets in the United States.
Right.
It is a good place for us to be in the long run. So combining forces with them, bringing them into our fold, I see nothing but upside. I'm very optimistic about the future. And having met with some of the employees up there, they're very encouraged and enthusiastic. And I'm looking for a win-win-win-win-win situation for a long time.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of news up there.
There is. All right. He's Wes Brown. I'm Roby Brock. That is 4 minutes, 4 questions. I'll go ahead and claim victory today because I think I answered my questions better than you did.
Okay. Once out of 100, yeah. Okay.
I'm kidding. You can catch Wes Brown's great work at our website at talkbusiness.net every single day. A short break and we'll go inside the numbers for a look at the Arkansas business landscape. And later, round 2 with Jessica Deloach-Sabin and Representative Andy Davis. She's a little left, he's a little right, but who is correct? That's the big question. We'll find out after this.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did. As Arkansas's population grows, so do our energy demands. But with the right mix of resources, reliable, affordable power will always be a reality. These resources are all around us in our rivers, blowing through our trees, even right below our feet. The answer isn't focusing on one resource, it's embracing them all. The electric cooperatives of Arkansas know that a balanced approach to power builds our communities and powers our dreams. Visit themixmatters.com and see why there's power in knowledge.
Despite the Labor Day weekend, there was still plenty of news. Let's go inside the numbers for a roundup. 97, that is how many years philanthropist Pat Walker lived. The Northwest Arkansas resident who passed away last week at the age of 97 gave to more charitable organizations than you can count. But some of those highlights include UAMS, the University of Arkansas, University of the Ozarks, Washington Regional Medical Center, and Arkansas Children's Hospital. Pat Walker and her husband Willard were among the early investors in a little retail chain that you may have heard of called Walmart. How about the number 7,000? And speaking of Walmart, the retail giant confirmed plans to centralize some invoicing and store accounting roles, roughly 1 to 2 positions per store over the next few months. Walmart said the total job elimination is about 7,000, but that does not mean that 7,000 employees will be sent to the unemployment line. Walmart is planning to reroute as many of the 7,000 workers as possible to frontline jobs, and it'll add up to about 1,000 new jobs at a center in North Carolina where some of those accounting jobs will be consolidated. $25 million, that's how much Fort Smith-based ArcBest spent on its latest acquisition. Late last week, the trucking giant said it would acquire Logistics and Distribution Services, a Nevada-based firm with 30 employees founded in 2001. Keep on trucking. Still to come, Representative Andy Davis and Talk Business and Politics contributor Jessica Deloach-Sabin are back for another round of politics. Do they agree or disagree with some prognostications from national analyst Charlie Cook, who just posted his Labor Day assessment of the presidential race, and more? Find out when we come back.
Circuits turn on the lights by making a connection, by closing the loop. At Entergy, we believe our economy is circular too. What you put in comes back. So we invest billions in new infrastructure, which helps attract new industry, which helps create new jobs. We partner with local communities to electrify the economy, and together we power life. Entergy.
You've likely heard of the Great Arkansas Treasure Hunt. In fact, you or your business may have property to claim in the hunt. But where does this treasure come from? Businesses like yours. The law calls it unclaimed property. If your business is holding money on its books that you've not been able to return to the owner, it's most likely unclaimed property, and the law requires it to be sent to the state auditor's office each year. Auditor Andrea Lee's office can make the process for businesses to comply with the law easy and straightforward. Help us help you return Arkansans' unclaimed property at auditor.ar.gov.
Representative Andy Davis is a Republican from Little Rock. Jessica Deloach-Sabin, our resident Democrat on the Talk Business and Politics website, and obviously here on our daily show too. They're back to talk politics. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Charlie Cook was in town. Noted political observer, has put out his Labor Day predictions for kind of where the race stands. He was here in Little Rock a week ago Monday, and he basically said he thinks Hillary Clinton wins narrowly, but she wins because the electoral map favors her, and that the Senate could be 50-50. So let's start with the presidential race. Jessica, I'll let you go first here.
Sure.
Do you agree that Hillary Clinton has the electoral advantage today?
Yes, today she absolutely has the electoral advantage, and she has it in a very significant way. She has more electoral votes than she needs. I think she has 62 more than she needs based on what calculations he was looking at. I don't think that that's going to change very much unless there's some sort of scandal that erupts, and I like to tell people anything's possible.
Anything is possible this election year.
That's
for
right.
Sure. What do you think, Andy?
Presidential race, I disagree, and I don't spend my evenings sitting around adding up electoral college votes, but I did just earlier this morning go Google latest presidential polls, and when you do, the headlines are Trump pulls ahead, Trump beating Clinton. You know, a little anecdotal evidence. The other day I was in the RPA office and a young girl came in and was looking for Trump signs to go put up in Cabot. And I just thought this was clearly somebody that had never been in the Republican Party of Arkansas's office before. And she was looking for Trump signs. And I thought to myself, this is a demographic he's not supposed to win. I just think that we're talking about voters that we're not used to polling, that we're not used to measuring. I think at the end of the day, Trump's still going to win.
All right, so there's plenty of time for that to happen. So we'll see if Charlie Cook falls on his face on that. You're betting that he does. What about the Senate? There, obviously, it's a 54-46 margin right now if you count the independents that side with the Democrats in there, but there's about 7 potential swing seats. Swing seats right now in the Senate race. Andy, I'll let you go first on this one. Do you think that the Senate stays in Republican control? Or do you see a crevice for the Democrats to get the majority status?
I think it stays in Republican control. You know, probably be very close. Maybe we lose a few seats, but I think it stays in Republican control. I don't think the Trump factor is making as big of an impact on the Senate races as a lot of people thought that it would initially.
Yeah. What do you think, Jessica?
You know, in the Senate, you've got 24 Republican seats that are at risk, 10 Democratic seats that are at risk, and 7 of those seats are in states that President Obama won in 2012. I think, like I said earlier, anything's possible, right? I think the Democrats could get extremely close to winning the Senate, but let me tell you what I think is key to actually doing it. You have to look at the favorability of Clinton and Trump. His favorability is significantly lower than hers, but her favorability overall too, or likability, it's still really low. And you've got to get that up. You've got to be able to mobilize demographics that we know right now she's not doing very well with. The reality of this situation is that if Democrats can't bring more people into the fold, can't fill the big tent that it claims to be, then you're going to end up in a situation where you get really close to winning the Senate, but you don't get across the finish line. And you know why I really want the Democrats to get across the finish line? So we won't have what some people call a do-nothing Congress. It would be really nice to have a Congress that can work with the executive branch. And what I'm worried about is just 4 more years of the same infighting that we've just been living through.
That's such a noble thought that you would think that, but I got news for you. Even if they were to win every seat that's up, they're still not going to have enough for cloture.
Don't kill my
and
hope.
So they're not going to get to 60. It's still going to be gridlock and stalemate. I hate to tell you that. Do you think that there is some mentality, though? Do you think it transcends this deeply, though, that a voter could say, I may not like Hillary Clinton, but I certainly don't like Donald Trump. I'm voting for Hillary Clinton, but I want some sort of check on her. Therefore, I'm pulling a lever for Republican for the Senate or for my House seat. Do you think that that's a possibility, or am I giving a voter too much credit on that? Be careful how you answer that.
Well, I think it's a possibility. I just don't think the election's going that way. I think that voters are more likely to vote for Trump, and they're more likely to vote for the Republican senator. I think one of my Democrat colleagues in the House told me that he was concerned in his primary because so many of his voters were going to vote for Trump in the Republican primary. And so I just think, I think that Trump is there's just such a factor out there that we're not used to.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about, you've got an election between a known and an unknown, is the way I like to put it. And Hillary's the known. Voters feel like they know what they're going to get if they get Hillary. And a lot of them are willing to take the chance on the unknown of Donald Trump.
But a lot of what we're looking at too, Hillary's biggest battle, Secretary Clinton's biggest battle is her trustworthiness, the perception of her trustworthiness, whereas Donald Trump's is, can you be level-headed? Can you be mature? Can you be competent? Do you have any experience, any real thoughts and policies? Basically everything it takes to be a president. And so the numbers that we were looking at, or that we started off talking about, what you start to see is that even with the presence of a libertarian candidate or the Green Party candidate, it really hurts him in the long run. But again, we can't possibly know who all is turning out for Trump because he's mobilizing people that we've never had to measure before, at least not in recent history. Right. So Election Day is going to be interesting. It's the post-Election Day analysis that I cannot wait for.
I can't wait for that either. And we could talk about this more, but our time is up. So Jessica Sabin, Representative Andy Davis, thank y'all both very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
That's all for today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. We will see you tomorrow. I'm Roby Brock. Until then, take care.